What is up, guys? My name is Scrawsh. Today I'm bringing you an analysis of the Titanfall E3 Stage Demo. Now, I couldn't fit all of the information, all of my notes into this video. I probably got around 1/5 of all my notes into this video. I'm going to be releasing a few more videos after this one that focus specifically on one idea, like game mechanics, the map, the AI. And if you want to check those out, you can subscribe and you'll be updated then on when those are out. And I'll put links or annotations to the next video at the end of each video. Thanks, hope you guys enjoy. Now, starting right off the bat, we see a pre-game lobby. You can see at the top it says waiting for players. On the right, the players are connecting to the game, and this is through the point of view of one of the factions. This is the MCOR, the M-Core. The other faction in the game is the IMC. We don't know too much about these guys. We do know a little bit though. These guys in space, they're a space corporation, a big space fleet, and right now they're running low on fuel, and so their motivation for this battle is they're trying to get some resources so they can keep going and survive. Now, on the other hand, the IMC are the people who live on this planet that they're invading, and like anyone would, they want to defend their home. So I kind of like that. It gives you a little bit more narrative. You're not just spawning in on two sides of a map and fighting. There's a reason why both these factions are fighting each other. Now, take a look at the bottom right of the screen. You see this little robot guy. Now, I believe this guy is a Spectre. There's an interview with Vince Zampella where he explains that there are these guys you can call in. They're not Titans. They're robots. They're not big Titans though. They're human-sized robots. And he says you can call them down and they'll help you out. So I'm guessing that's what that guy is, just hanging out. And also in the trailer, we're watching the stage demo, but in the Titanfall E3 trailer, I believe you see one of these robots. I think it might be the other sides, like the other faction side, because it doesn't look the same. But maybe there's different kinds. I don't know. But there's also a point in the trailer where you see the player stab one of these robots in the back with a knife. And I've heard talk of something called a data knife in the game. I'm thinking maybe you can use this thing to convert one of these specters to your side. This is all speculation, keep that in mind. This is just the reveal, and a lot of this stuff can change, but I'm still really psyched to talk about it and hope you guys are enjoying this. Now on the left, we see this guy sitting back on a computer. I believe this guy's name is Mitch. He pops up later. We'll talk more about him when that happens. And also up towards the top of the screen, you see another character. I don't know her name. We're just going to call her Red Bandana for now, but she also will pop up later on in the demo. Now here we get a nice view of the rest of this big fleet that makes up the MCOR or M-Core, and we're getting ready to jump into the planet's atmosphere. And you'll hear some more chatter about how the fleet's running low on fuel and they really need this to keep going. It just adds more to that narrative and that reason for fighting.
Civilian fleet's right behind us. Most of the ships are running on fumes right now.
We're out of options. It's now or never. Either way, we need this fuel, or none of us are gonna make it. The fleet's counting on you. Go, go, go!
Now I want to take a good look at the HUD. There is a ton of information right here, so we might spend a long time here, but just bear with me. So first off, on the top left we have the mini-map. Now you can see on the mini-map there's the player icons, or there's the personal player, which is the arrow. Then you have these two, it looks like a top-down of a soldier. Those are other pilots. Now, if you didn't know, this game also has AI-controlled players running around. And you can see that they're called militia, and they're the little blips on there, the little round circle blips. They're little four-man squads of soldiers that run around the map. And you can also see the Titan. That Titan is an AI-controlled Titan. I think that you start the game with one Titan on each side, with an AI-controlled Titan, and then as you play, well, you'll see later on that the players call in their own Titans. Now on the top center of the screen, you can see that it says Hardpoint. That is the name of this game type. I believe this map is called Fracture, and this is the easiest way to explain this, I think, is to It's just like Call of Duty's domination. You have 3 points on the map, like 3 flags you capture. What I like about this though is that, you know, again going back to those AI players, if you look at the mini map, they go for C right here. You can see your AI Titan and your soldiers go for C, and I think one of your pilots does too. So this is all speculation. I mean, this whole video is all speculation, and this could all change. Now let's say that none of the players go for any of the objectives. I'm thinking that the AI militia will, our AI will go for C, the enemy will go for A, and then they'll meet in the middle at B if no players interact with them. Which I think is really cool. It's kind of like they're bringing the MOBA style gameplay to a first person shooter, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. It looks really awesome. Now in the bottom right you can see we have our ammo count for our weapon. 30 bullets in a clip, 9 clips. Right bumper, that's a satchel charge. You'll see that later on in the video. Now I believe left bumper is cloaking, like an invisibility power. I've heard in interviews that the pilots have the ability to cloak, so I believe that's what that is. Right now you see that bar underneath it is black, it's not filled in. Later on in the video it gets filled in, so I'm thinking maybe you can't use that until there's an enemy Titan deployed. I'm not sure how that works. That's just my thoughts. Now in the top right we see our friend Mitch, the computer man, who was in on the ride with us on that ship before we started the match. He pops up whenever there's new information concerning the hardpoints. So if one's under attack, if the enemy's taking one, he explains what the game type is here in the beginning of the match. So he's kind of your guy who tells you what's going on with what you're playing. I'll let this video run so you can hear it, but then I want to come back to this point again later.
Take control of as many hardpoints as you can. Patch me into them, and I'll take care of the rest.
Now here's a great example of another feature. They're adding a double jump to this game, which I think is awesome. It really adds to the agility of the pilot. You can see later on that they also have the ability to wall run, which is super cool. It really helps combat the Titans. You can jump around the map, get on top of buildings, kind of evade their fire. Now on the bottom left you see it says Building Titan. I think it starts at around 1:35 when the game first starts, so it looks like you'll have about a minute 30 seconds until you can call in your Titan. But you can speed that up by doing certain things in the game, as you'll see an example of right here. He shoots an enemy pilot, and his timer jumps from around 50 seconds to 20 seconds, and he gets around 600 points for that. Now here we see our other friend from our ship ride in here, Red Bandana, and she seems to pop up anytime there's information regarding your Titan. So she was here earlier when there was a minute left for your Titan, and now that you have 15 seconds left, she pops in to remind you, and that just seems to be what she does.
Mike ready in 15 seconds.
Now right here we see a new weapon, the Sidewinder AT SMR Rapid Fire Rocket Launcher. And as you can see, it looks to be pretty effective against the Titans. And also to note that if you look to the bottom left, by doing damage to that Titan, his timer has dropped to 0. So now Red Bandana pops back up, telling us that our Titan's ready.
Okay, your Titan's
But something to note here is that he doesn't call it in right away. He waits until it's needed to call it in. Here we see another example of how crazy the agility of the pilots is. You got this guy wall running. This is so awesome. I cannot wait for this. Here we see what this weapon is called, the R101 Full Auto Storm Rifle. And you can see he kills a player right here, he gets 1,000 points. And before he got 500 points for killing that Titan. I'm thinking that these points must go towards something. They haven't announced anything. So I'm curious to see what what all these points are for. If it's for some leveling system, if you can use them to unlock stuff. We don't know yet, but they have to be holding something back, and I'm excited to find out what that is in the months to come. Now here we see this enemy get taken out by that Sidewinder rocket launcher we saw early on in the video, and later on we see a few AI guys. Here we see 3 AI soldiers, 2 friendlies and 1 enemy. Our player helps them out, and you can see right here that the player, it seems that you can walk through, well, at least you can walk through friendly AI, which I think is a good thing. I mean, it'd be kind of a pain if you're trying to get somewhere and there's a 4-man squad just running down the hall in front of you and you can't get through them. That's just something I just noticed and wanted to point out. Now I want to show you guys something towards the top right of the screen. You see right above the IMC there's 2 Titan symbols, 2 enemy red Titan symbols, and on the left you can see that there's 1 friendly Titan symbol. I'm thinking this is a display of how many Titans are on the field. As you can see now there's 2. The second he called his in, that second friendly Titan symbol popped up. So I'm pretty sure that's an indication of how many Titans are on the battlefield. Now going back to the player capturing this Bravo point, we can see that this little pod of soldiers spawns, and I don't know if this is the enemy soldiers, if you can also call down AI militia if you want, just like how you can call down a Titan and maybe call down the Spectre guys we mentioned earlier. I don't know, so I don't know if this, or I was thinking this could be as you're capturing a point, they drop in if an enemy controls it. I'm not sure, but B was uncontested at the time, so I don't know if it's, I mean, I just no idea. Just something to point out. Also, on the right of the player, we get this awesome pilot versus pilot execution assassination thing. And there's a few more of them in the demo, so it looks to seem that there's a ton of different ways you can assassinate or execute your opponents in this game. Now, if you look in the top right, you see this new face. Now, this guy, I believe, is aboard this ship that you're going to see later on in the video. And he's explaining to Mitch that his ship is taking damage and that he needs these turrets offline as soon as possible.
This is the Red Eye. We're taking a lot of flak. Mitch, we need those turrets offline ASAP.
Now, here's our buddy Mitch again in his reply. Now, he tells us that if we can get to a hardpoint and capture it, we can stop these turrets firing on our ship. I love this because if you're losing the match, instead of an announcer telling you to pick up the pace, you're losing the match, you actually see the consequences of not holding these hardpoints, and I just think it's another cool way that they bring the narrative and they bring you into the game and immerse you in this kind of combined single player multiplayer experience. Now, moving along to when our player calls in his Titan, you can see in the bottom left it says Titan incoming, and then it says Titan follow 100% health. So I'm thinking if our player does not jump inside the Titan and just takes off running, that the Titan will follow him and just give him support. And another thing to bring up right here is that when you call in a Titan, it is your personal Titan. No one else, your teammates, the enemy, they can't jack it and go inside your Titan. I've heard of a few interviews, and they make that a pretty big deal that your personal Titan is your Titan. It sounds like you can customize it too. And there's a few hints in this demo that show that. Now, looking at this HUD inside the Titan, I really love this little 5-panel aesthetic. You got the feeling that you're inside some big steel robot kick-ass machine. Also, we have replaced our RB satchel charge with a rocket. You'll see he fires it here in a minute. And we have this new dash in the bottom left. You can see he's strafing left and right and using up that bar. Now, LB, which I thought for the player used to be that camo, seems to be this Titan vortex shield. It looks like you can absorb bullets or rockets and throw it back to the enemy, which is pretty cool. And now on the left for the D-pad, we have eject out of the Titan, which you'll see a pilot do here in a minute, and our player zaps him out of the sky with the Titan arc cannon. Now we see our player in another fight with the Titan. I love this. He's using that shield. using that dash, throwing those rockets back, and then he just reaches in an enemy Titan, pulls the pilot out, and just launches them across the map. And here's one of those clues to Titan customization. You see that it says hold X to pick up Titan rocket launcher. So I'm thinking that, you know, you can choose maybe a loadout. I don't know if loadout's the best word, but you can choose what, well, yeah, loadout. What your Titan spawns with, certain weapons. It's another little hint at a Titan customization. Now coming up here, you see the player just run over an enemy pilot. Not much to say about that, it's pretty awesome. Now our player jumps out of his Titan, and you see on the left on the D-pad, he switches it from Titan Fallout to Titan Guard. Now I'm thinking that the Titan's just going to stand there like a sentry gun or a turret and just guard that location for the player. I also want to point out that when he jumped out of his Titan, his left bumper power filled up. So, you know, I'm still thinking that's cloak, but, you know, that could be anything at this point. And we also see an example of the RB satchel charge right here. You can see he throws it on the wall, and that enemy pilot gets blown up. Now our player makes his way back to his Titan, doing this awesome swoop underneath his legs. The Titan picks him up and throws him into his chest. And we get ready for a big Titan versus Titan battle going on here. Now our player is using everything at his disposal, using his RB rockets, his dash, strafing to the left, using his vortex shield to stop those rockets, strafing, trying to reload, and this other guy gets the best of him, so he decides to eject out. He's flying through the air, lands on the enemy Titan, and it looks like he just pulls open the enemy Titan's skull and just starts shooting his brain. Now there's two things to note during this little final battle sequence. Right when our player's Titan gets destroyed, you can see his building Titan timer starts right back up at 2 minutes. And also, as he unloads his assault rifle into the enemy Titan, it's already jumped to 1:20. So it seems like Titans might be available pretty often, depending on what you're doing or how you're playing. And then this demo ends with this iconic entering a Titan sequence where you have the panels lighting up, and I think that's awesome. It was a great demo. I am so hyped for this game. Hope you guys are too. Hope you guys love the video, and there's more Titanfall news to come. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to see my next Titanfall video, hit that video you see on the screen right now in the bottom right. And I'll see you guys next time.